Welcome to a special Dairy Foods TV broadcast. I'm Brian Burke, editor-in-chief of Dairy Foods magazine. Today joining us is Geri Berdak, CEO at the Dairy Alliance, a nonprofit funded by dairy farm families of the Southeast. Geri has been named one of Atlanta Business Chronicle's People on the Move. Berdak joins the list alongside other top-ranked CEOs and C-level executives celebrated in the Atlanta business community. In 2020, Berdak assumed the role of CEO at the Dairy Alliance with a clear mission: bring an innovative approach to growing dairy and fluid milk demand and revitalize the dairy industry in the Southeast. Through her leadership, the Dairy Alliance is becoming a consumer-focused, action-oriented catalyst for the Southeast dairy industry through its sustainability and real milk campaign efforts. Geri, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, the pleasure is all mine. I wanted to touch first on the, what we mentioned a little bit in the introduction about the Dairy Alliance, but can you tell all the viewers of Dairy Foods what the Dairy Alliance is and what your goals are?
Yes. So the Dairy Alliance is a nonprofit organization that's funded by dairy farm families here in the Southeast. So we basically are in charge of the checkoff program on behalf of the dairy industry here in the Southeast. So we're an 8-state region here. Our role really, like you mentioned, is to find ways to build the market for dairy products, particularly fluid milk in our area. So we look at things like you were mentioning new market opportunities, ways of thinking about milk, dairy products, promoting the nutritional benefits, but also looking at how we tell our farmer family stories on the role that they play to be good stewards of their land and their animals as we think about and know that consumers care more about sustainability today than they ever have before.
Okay, great. Thank you for that information. So let's talk about milk. That's a great thing to have you on about. There's been a lot of talk this year. There was one particular story about it, about the consumption decline, which was in the news. It's been some other places as well. Can you talk about that? Is that true, and what would you attribute this decline to? Specifically, the media has alleged that it's younger demographics, Generation Z, that are causing this decline. Can you tell us a little more about that? Is this reporting accurate, or is there a lot more to this story?
Well, it is very multifaceted. So I think just in recent times, we have seen over the last year and a half a decline in milk sales, particularly because of inflation. So as consumers are trying to find ways to, buy more with less, they might be buying half gallons instead of gallons. They're choosing other options other than milk. So we did see some softening of the market sales as a result of that. However, as we're now looking at 2023, we are seeing a slowing of that decline as inflation settles. That certainly is top of mind with a lot of people now as watching sales of milk. But over the last 10 years, we have seen that milk sales have declined. And it's a lot to do with, there's a variety of reasons. Number one is there are just a lot more choices out there when you think about beverage options. So back 10, 15 years ago, I watched kind of old mini series, TV series, and we always see at the family table, we've got the milk there. But today there's over 200 choices of beverages in the supermarket. And so basically just share a stomach for milk has just declined. And so that is certainly one thing that's contributing to milk sales decline, but also, generationally, consumers, don't view milk the same way. In our data here in the Southeast, we're seeing that ethnic opinions or ethnic backgrounds have influenced milk perceptions. Some of the persons of color, which here in the Southeast, it's about 40% of our population, they might have preconceived ideas around the health benefits or healthiness of milk, mostly around lactose and, digestive issues. So there's some opportunity for us to kind of rethink how we look at milk and how milk is perceived and making sure we're positioning it appropriately to our audiences. And the other thing I'll say is that we talk about fluid milk decline overall, but when you break apart milk, we're seeing different things. So gallon milk might be declining, but when you look at what we call value added milks, we are seeing increased sales. So when you look at like lactose free or high protein milk that is developed in a way that provides a benefit to the consumer and positioned that way, we are seeing increase in sales. Even whole milk, we're seeing an increase in sales because consumers, I think, the whole idea of whole, non-processed is resonating with consumers. So I think the main message here is it's how the products are positioned in the market, making sure that it's talking through a benefit of the product to the consumer. The more we think about that, the more we deliver products that meet those needs, the more we're going to see fluid milk sales increase. So that's kind of how we're viewing it here, and the way, just to address your question around, there's a good story and a kind of a negative story, but I think overall, milk is still a strong category. I think 93% of households here in the Southeast have milk in the refrigerator. So it's not doom and gloom like it's going away. I think it's just kind of how we look at the market, how we look at the data, and how we look at how we position milk for the consumer today that will make a difference.
Yeah, no doubt. It's I think people are still definitely consuming milk. It's just it might be changing in some ways. I mean, I go back to the days that I don't know if everyone remembers when we'd have milk cartons and there would be like baseball cards on there, and I would I would cut them out and collect them and all those things. So I mean, that's how far back I go with it. But it's going to change. And that's why I wanted to follow up on it a little bit. You really you talked about it quite a bit, but can you just give us a little more about are people going to when you say milk is there in the refrigerator, are people using more consuming more, I should say, plant-based milk, or are they going to dairy alternatives altogether, or maybe they're doing both? I mean, maybe they're having a regular milk and a plant-based milk, or they're a milk and a tea, or I mean, what are you seeing in your data?
Yeah, in that spectrum of a variety of options for consumers to choose, we are looking at the alternative category, and what we're seeing is plant-based alternative sales are declining. And they're on, I think this is the second year of decline that we're seeing. And I think it's, many reasons. One is consumers are starting to recognize, they look at the panel, the ingredient panel, and they see that it's very long. And more consumers today want products that are real and whole and not necessarily processed. So that's one aspect. The other is inflation. Those products cost a lot of money. And then secondly, just they're starting to realize that nutritionally they're not as equivalent to real dairy milk, particularly in the area of protein, which what we're seeing consumers really care about. So to your point, I think when you look at the market and you look at consumers, about 68% of consumers here buy fluid milk on a regular basis. About 15% buy both milk and plant-based alternatives, and only 6% buy plant alternatives only. So to your point, the majority still buy milk. There's a section of consumers that buy both because, again, back to the options, they might have a family member, or maybe they're just being experimental and want to try plant-based for another reason, but they still love dairy. And then there's just a small section that just buy plant. And overall, we are seeing a decline in plant-based sales. As we look at the reasons why, or the drivers to purchase, like I mentioned, nutrition is what really drives milk purchase. Sustainability is seeming to drive more of the plant-based purchase. And I think what we need to do as an industry is find a way to get the story out a little bit more prominent amongst consumers that dairy is sustainable. And that is another thing we're working on. We have an amazing story to tell, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think we just have an opportunity, especially as a farmer funded organization, to get that farmer voice out there. And that's part of what we're focused on as well, to kind of ensure that milk is seen in a positive light.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly something that we should be focusing on. I wanted to ask you also. You talked a lot about the health benefits. I mean, I think it's hard to match some of the things that milk provides compared to other products. I mean, there's a lot of health benefits in milk. And you did say that the plant-based is declining, but how do we get more, how do we promote these benefits more? I guess it's more of a marketing question to me in a way. I mean, do you think, how do we get the information to the consumer about these benefits? I mean, do you think we need some new campaign like the Got Milk thing that we had that worked so well years ago? I mean, is there a new campaign like that, a new Got Milk that we could do to really get this information in the consumer's minds, thinking about it more?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ryan. I think we're looking at it through the lens of three different things. So the first one is, like I mentioned at the beginning, around why consumers buy products. The drivers to purchase are more relevant when it's a benefit that's relevant to them. So, like I mentioned, around dairy sales in general, and we're looking at milk, we find that value-added milks are selling better. We know that whole milk is selling better than just milk. And so that tells us, and even when we see success stories of other products in the market, we know that it's about the benefits and not about the functional. So in the past, I think as an industry, we've talked a lot about, calcium and what we call functional ingredients in the product. But what we need to do and what we're doing is shifting to what that functional ingredient does for you. And so, when we've studied and looked at the nutritional benefits of milk, what we're finding is certainly the quality protein is such an important message. Consumers today, I don't think, recognize what quality protein really means, but we know through science that quality protein really does deliver more effectively against benefits consumers care about, like muscle development, like performance. And you combine that with carbohydrates and the great 13 nutrients, essential nutrients in milk, including the electrolytes. And we're finding that it's an amazing recovery beverage, amazing, hydration beverage. And that's the kind of thing that we need to do to kind of get the message out there to consumers around milk to make it relevant in today's mind for that consumer. And Milk Pep, as you know, is doing a lot of great work in this area of reconsidering, driving reconsideration of milk. And here in the Southeast, we are partnering with Milk Pep on a lot of those benefit claims and messages that are tied back to science to really reach consumers differently through digital, through social, through sports, sponsoring sports teams to make sure that that message is available to consumers where they are, but also resonates with them in the area of something that they can help. So that's the first thing that we're doing. And then secondly, like I mentioned before, it really is about getting the story out about sustainability, because there is a lot of misinformation. Trust really does make a difference to a consumer in their purchase. We're finding that probably about 48% of consumer purchase goes on trust. It goes on, do they care? Does the industry, how do they make the product, and does that industry care about me? So I think we need to look at how do we tell that story better, like I mentioned, and that is an area of opportunity that we're focused on here in the Southeast, is getting that farmer voice out there, showing how farmers care about, doing virtual farm tours, talking and doing educational content around how milk is made and how fresh it is and how it's local, and just those kinds of things that consumers care about. And then the third thing is really about innovation, because when we talk about benefit products, we talk about value add, we talk about things that milk has been, products that has delivered benefits that are better than milk, or enhanced benefits like more protein, like lactose free. Also looking for ways to where milk can be a very quality nutrition ingredient in a beverage category. We know beverage category is growing, and it's a matter of looking at where those opportunities are for milk to play a role. So it's like a coffee beverage with milk, or maybe it's a smoothie with milk. A lot of times if you go to restaurants now, you find smoothies are made with plant-based alternatives. Well, if you add milk, I mean, you're really increasing the nutritional profile and taste of that product. So here at the Dairy Alliance, we're looking at the beverage market in general, finding ways where milk can play a role to enhance a beverage to deliver better benefits to the consumer. So it's promoting it, making sure it's relevant, talking about the benefits of milk in a way that consumers care about, reaching them where they are, getting that story out about how the milk is made, how it is sustainable, how the farmers care about their animals, and then lastly, just finding ways for milk to do something different and better in a product, new product opportunity or an innovation. Those are the ways we're looking at, ways of reinventing milk and really kind of growing the category for milk here in the Southeast.
Yeah, great information. There's no question that sustainability is an important topic. It's on the mind, I think, of every processor I talk to, of how to get there. Sometimes it's ways that they're going to get there is the challenge, but it's always top of mind that they need to get there, and they know that, and how important it is for the earth and for consumers and everything. So it's definitely top of mind for them. So that's great. Lastly, I wanted to ask you, it's kind of dairy in schools, it's a different animal in some ways. I mean, when you're working with the school administrators and things of that sort. So I wanted to talk to you about how you can advance the message that schools that milk is a healthy choice there. I mean, and I should point out that IDFA just came out with something recently about this study they did with Morning Consult, talking about the importance of dairy in schools. So, what could you, what information can you provide to make sure that we keep milk in schools as a healthy option?
Yeah. It's great point. Schools are an important channel for us. I think we all know kids need good nutrition, and milk plays such a significant role in their growth and development. Schools currently serve milk, so for us here in the Southeast, it's really making sure milk is available in schools. We are here in the Southeast struggling with a little bit of the processing aspect, and that becomes a challenge when milk processing facilities close down. So here in the Southeast, we're very focused on making sure we're brokering or helping, making sure that, processors are hooked up with schools so that milk is served in schools. Secondly, it's making sure that, we have relationships with the school food service directors and administrators to do training on how milk is served in a way that it's a very positive experience for our students. So served cold, available, flavored milk. We're looking at dispensers, different ways of serving milk. So it's not in the carton. So it's a more sustainable way for kids to get milk, but also enjoyable so that you don't have that carton, aspect. A lot of times when you remember school milk, you remember the carton. So we're finding ways of bringing new ways of serving milk in schools and then incorporating it at the breakfast occasion as well as lunch with yogurt and other dairy products. And then lastly, working with administrators on how we can help with curriculum to talk about how nutritious milk is, but also how it's made in a sustainable way, like I mentioned before. Kids care a lot about that now too, believe it or not. And we offer a lot of virtual farm tours. So we have a lot of great farmers here in our area that do amazing jobs of telling the story of how the milk is made. And with COVID, we were able to find a way to do this virtually that enable us to reach more schools. And we're finding that when we do virtual farm tours, we increase trust in the dairy industry by 30% each time. We do a pre and post survey. And so we do know that getting that information out there, helping helping kids see how farming is, connecting them back to the farm does increase their attitudes and their trust in the industry. So it's really a multi-pronged approach, making sure it's available, making sure that it's served in a way that it's an enjoyable experience, and then through curriculum, teaching on the nutritious role that milk plays in the diet, but also helping connect to the farm so that kids know how milk is made.
Great information, and I really applaud everything you're doing there to help promote milk. So, great stuff right there, and thanks for everything that all the information you provided today. It's really a fascinating conversation. So, thank you so much for joining me today, Geri. I really appreciate it, and good luck with your endeavors with this. And let's keep promoting milk's health benefits.
That's wonderful, Brian. Thanks again for having me. Really enjoyed it.